Tonight is the night of Boaz's barley harvest at the threshing floor. Take a bath and put on some perfume. We'll get you all dressed up and go to the threshing floor. But don't let him know you're there until the party is well underway and he's had plenty of food and drink. When you see him slipping off to sleep, watch where he lies down, and then you go there, lie at his feet to let him know that you're available to him for marriage. Then wait and see what he says. He'll tell you what to do next. Ruth said, "If you say so, I'll do it, just as you've told me." She went down to the threshing floor and put her mother-in-law's plan into action. Boaz had a good time eating and drinking his fill. He felt great. He went off to get some sleep lying down at the end of a stack of barley, and Ruth followed quietly. She laid down to signal her availability for marriage. And in the middle of the night, the man was suddenly startled and sat up, surprised, the woman asleep at his feet. And he said, "Who are you?" She said, "I am Ruth, your maiden. Take me under your protecting wing. You're my close relative, you know, in the circle of covenant redeemers. You do have the right to marry me." And he said, "God bless you, my dear daughter. What a splendid expression of love. And when you could have had your pick of any of the young men around. And now, my dear daughter, don't you worry about a thing. I'll do all you could want or ask. Everybody in town knows what a courageous woman you are. You're a real prize. You're right. I am a close relative to you, but there is one even closer than I am. So stay the rest of the night, and in the morning, if he wants to exercise his customary rights and responsibilities as the closest covenant redeemer, he'll have his chance. But if he isn't interested, as God lives, I will do it," Boaz says. "Now go back to sleep until morning." Ruth slept at his feet until dawn, but she got up while it was still dark and wouldn't be recognized. And then Boaz said to himself, "No one must know that Ruth came to the threshing floor." So Boaz said, "Bring the shawl you're wearing and spread it out." So she spread it out, and he poured it full of barley, 6 measures, and put it on her shoulders. And then she went back to town. And when she came to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, "So how did things go?" Ruth told her everything Boaz had done for her, adding, "And he gave me all of this barley besides, 6 quarts. I guess 6 quarts of barley was a pretty cool thing to get from a suitor. "He told me you can't go back empty-handed to your mother-in-law." That's why he gave them all the quarts of barley. So Naomi said, "Sit back and relax, my dear daughter, until we find out how things turn out. That man isn't going to fool around. Mark my words, he's going to get everything wrapped up today." So Boaz went straight to the public square and took his place there. Before long, the closer relative, the one mentioned earlier by Boaz, strolled by. "Step aside, old friend," Boaz said. "Take a seat." So the man sat down. Boaz then gathered 10 of the town elders together and said, "Sit here with us. We've got some business that we need to take care of." And they sat down. Boaz then said to his relative, "The piece of property that belonged to our relative Elimelech is being sold by his widow Naomi, who has just returned from the country of Moab. I thought you ought to know about it. Buy it back if you want it. You can make it official in the presence of all of these witnesses who are sitting here, these town elders. You have first redeemer rights. If you don't want it, tell me, so I'll know where I stand. You're the first in line to do this, and I'm next after you." He said, "I'll buy it." Then Boaz added, "You realize, don't you, that when you buy the field from Naomi, you also get Ruth, the Moabite, the widow of your dead relative, along with the redeemer responsibility to have children with her to carry on the family inheritance." And then the relative said, "Oh, I don't think I can do that. I jeopardize my own family's inheritance. You go ahead and buy it, Boaz. You can have my rights because I can't do it." In the olden times in Israel, this is how they handled official business regarding matters of property and inheritance. A man would take off his shoe and give it to the other person, and this was the same as an official seal or a personal signature in Israel. So when Boaz's redeemer relative said, "Go ahead and buy it," he signed the deal by pulling off his shoe. Boaz then addressed the elders and all the people in the town square that day. "You are witnesses today that I have bought from Naomi everything that belonged to Elimelech, including responsibility for Ruth, the foreigner, the widow of Milam. I'll take her as my wife and keep the name of the deceased alive along with his inheritance. The memory and reputation of his deceased is not going to disappear out of his family or from his hometown. To all of this, you are witnesses this very day." All the people in the town square that day, backing up the elders, said, "Yes, we are witnesses." May God make this woman, Ruth, who is coming into your household like Rachel and Leah, the two women who built the family in Israel. May God make you a pillar and famous in Bethlehem. Boaz married Ruth. She became his wife. Boaz slept with her. By God's gracious gift, she conceived and had a son. The town women said to Naomi, "Blessed be God. He didn't leave you without family to carry on your life. Maybe this baby will grow up and be famous in Israel. He'll make you young again. He'll take care of you in old age. And this daughter-in-law who has brought him into the world and loves you so much, why, she's worth more than 7 sons to you." Naomi took the baby and held him in her arms, cuddling him, cooing over him, waiting on him hand and foot. The neighborhood women started calling him Naomi's baby boy. But his real name was Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse, and Jesse was the father of David.